All right, ladies and gentlemen, today and this week, we are going to talk about writing things in what's called vertex form. And vertex form is probably easier than the other forms because it does what it says. It gives you the vertex, and it is right here. Those two things are the vertex. And if you remember, the vertex is like right there, you know, the absolute minimum or maximum of a graph. Okay. Now, to find the vertex, okay, you're going to watch the signs here. You're going to take H and K. That's all it is, H, comma, K. But what you need to know is because of that minus sign, it's really opposite, comma, same. So it's the opposite of what you see in here, and it's the same as what you see out here. And so what I'm trying to do is give you some examples to look at here while I'm going. So when I look at this here, I'm going to do the opposite of -2, which is 2, and the same of 4, which is 4. Take a guess a second. What do you think the vertex is on this one? Well, opposite, same, -6. Okay? The axis of symmetry. It's always really nice because when I draw the axis of symmetry, it goes through the vertex like that. So it's always that x value. We said that on the previous assignment. So whatever this is always going to be that number. So this is my h, 2. This is my h, -5. Again, this is hk. Let me write that in there. Okay. So to find the y-intercept, we just plug in 0 because anything on the y-axis is the y-intercept, right? 0, 10, 0, 7, 0, 4, and so on. They all have 0 in the x. So I'm going to plug 0 in for x, for the x value, which means you're plugging it in right there. And so what I did is I went ahead and I kind of got ahead a little bit. I plugged in 0 right here. 0 minus 2 is -2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12 plus 4 is 16. So this is 0, 16. Am I asking you to do that work in your head? No. Plug it right into a calculator. 3 parentheses 0 minus 2 squared plus 4. It'll spit out 16. Same thing here. 2 parentheses 0 plus 5 squared minus 6 is 0, comma, again, 25, 50 minus 6 is 44. Okay? That would be the y-intercept if you're going to graph it. Okay? All right. So if A is positive, this is just like what we said before. If that number in front is positive, it opens up. If that number in front is negative, it opens down. I didn't do that for these, but both of these would open up because that's positive and that's positive as well. Okay? All right, so the effects of H and K on a graph. This graph is going to move up and down, left and right, compared to the parent function, this original function that we see here. So H, that number on the inside of parentheses, that shifts it left and right. Okay? You can imagine K then shifts it up and down, right? So if H is greater than 0, okay, then that moves it to the right, okay? And if it's less, then it moves it to the left. If K is positive, it moves it up, and K is negative, it moves it down. That's pretty easy part because you can see that right away. But again, you got to think of what H is. If H is positive, which I can see right here, H is positive, then that means so H is greater than 0, so it moves right, right? And then K is positive 4, so K is greater than 0, so that's going to move it up. So this graph will look like this, only moved over to the right and up, and it'll look like it's right here. Okay, we'll see that in a minute. For this other one, H is below 0. H is a negative number. And if H is negative, well, as this says, it moves it to the left. Right? If K here, which is negative, so it's less than 0, that's going to move it, of course, down. Okay? So let's look at this in action. Let's look at an example here. So the first thing I want you to identify when you're looking at these equations is the vertex, because that's the easy part. The easy part. Opposite, same. -3, -4. And look, we're always going to put that right in the middle of our table. Okay? So I'm going to put -4 there. How do you suppose I would find the values for these other ones? Well, I would plug it in. I would plug it in right there for x. So -5 plus 3 squared minus 4. -4 plus 3 squared minus 4. I probably should have just wrote this out so I didn't have to keep doing this. I did on the back side, but not here. -2, -1, sorry. It's like writing lines, right? Everything, gosh, I did that again. That's a 3 right there too. Okay, so again, you're plugging in -5, -4, -2, -1. You already plugged in -3, right? And from that I get, let's see, 0, -3. And what you'll notice is, I'm going to go start graphing this, right? First of all, that's negative, so that should move it left. This is negative, so that should move it down. So what we should see is this graph, but over here, down here, and kind of like over here, right? So let's plot that vertex. -3, -4 is right there. Sure enough, that vertex was moved left and down. Boy, did that make sense. Okay, let's graph the rest of these. -3, -4, -3 is right here. And -3, did I just do that right? -3, -4. Oh, of course, duh, stupid. -5, 0, right here. Okay, good. So we've got that. Now, if you remember, we have this axis of symmetry, right? We have this axis of symmetry that cuts that line in half, right? So if this is the vertex and that is my axis of symmetry, then I can just go and actually put these points and reflect them over that, right? This is 1 box away, so I go 1 box away. There it is right there. This is 1, 2 boxes away. I go 1, 2 boxes away, and there's that point right there, and there's my parabola. Now, if that's not making sense to you, you can still solve these, right? This is still -3. When you plug this in, this will give you 0, and so I would have those points anyway at -2, -3, and at -1, 0. But I want you to see that they reflect across that line as well. Okay. All right. So that is what you have to do, and again, you can see that this went down and it went left. And that's again because of what the vertex was, right? It went -3, -4. That means I went left and down. Okay. All right. Cool. Let's look at another example. Let's flip the page here. Okay. As you can see, I've already drawn some tables here. On your homework, I will give you the tables, right? You're going to have to fill them in, but I'm giving you the x values over and over and over again, so you do not have to fill the x values in and come up with them. Okay. So I am going to show you. First of all, we got to find the vertex here. Okay, the vertex, hopefully you can see from here, when there's nothing out here, that just means +0 like that. So my vertex is opposite, same. It is -2, 0. So that's always going to go in the middle. And then I'm just going to go up and down by numbers that make sense. So I'm going to go up by 2's because when it's a fraction like this, I want to go up by the denominator. Again, you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to give you those values. And then we're just going to plug them in. So I want to find f of -6, f of -4, f of -2. Okay, f of, excuse me, I already found f of -2. Let's find f of 0 and f of 2. And I'm just going to go plug those values in to the original equation. Okay, this thing right here for x. Okay, so from this one, I get 8. From this one, I get 2. From this one, I get 2. From this one, I get 8, which makes sense because, again, as we have said, these things reflect. Okay, so let's go graph that. So -2, 0 right here. -6, +8 way up here. -4, 2 right here. And again, remember, these reflect across that axis of symmetry right there. Okay, now again, so they better make sense, right? So 0, 2 right here. And that's 2 boxes away, that's 2 boxes away. Because some of you tried to draw 0, 2 right here. That is not 0, 2. That is 2, 0. And if you had put it there, it wouldn't be reflecting with that. So it's kind of a way that you can check yourself. Did it reflect? Good. If it's here to here, nope, that didn't reflect. Didn't even reflect with this point. Don't do that. Okay? All right. So 2, 8 up here. And sure enough, that reflects with this point because that point is 4 away, that point is 4 away, and they work out. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is the graph. That's it. That's what you got to do. Okay? On the next one, let's see, my vertex, again, is opposite of -1, which is positive, same of 6. So I'm going to put that opposite same in the middle. Again, that's why I kind of denoted that. And then I'm just going to go up and down by 1's in this case because that's the whole number, so that's okay. Okay? And so I want to find -1, 0, 2, and 3 by plugging it in right there into your x. Okay, so I'm showing that work here. Okay, you plug that right into your calculator. I'm just going to tell you, just for the sake of not wasting your time, that when you plug them in, you get that. So -6, 3, 3, -6. Again, this should mirror itself. So I'm going to go plot 1, 6 first because that's my vertex. And then I'm going to start plotting the rest. 0, 3 is right here. That should, again, this, where the axis of symmetry is, through the vertex, should have things that mirror. So this 2, 3, sure enough, it works, right? -1, -6, way down here. Well, that's 2 boxes over, 2 boxes over, better bring me to here. 3, -6, sure enough, that was the point we came up with. And then I've got my upside down parabola. Why is this upside down and that one's not? Think about it for a second. It's just because of this. See, that's positive, it goes up. That's negative, it goes down. Simple as that, okay? All right, so we got all that taken care of. On your homework, if you'd like to, you could just copy this in. I've already done a little bit for you. This is your homework assignment. There is 2 sides to it, okay? We're not doing a secondary review sheet with this one. It's just this. And again, when I plug in -2, this means -2 squared. And -2 times -2 is how I got +4. Whereas right here, when I plug in -2, I have this negative on the outside. So it's looking like this. And order of operations says I have to do this first to give me 4. And that negative on the outside is what makes it -4. Now you can just plug it in your calculator, but make sure you're using parentheses when you plug it in. Okay. Also, remember that the vertex is the first thing you find. This is opposite same. There's my vertex. This is opposite same. So -3, -1. And then you just go plug in 0. You go plug in 1. You go plug in 3. You go plug in 4, and so on. And what you'll see here, hopefully, because that is +2, 0. So +2 means I should shift this over to, and it should be a graph right here. -3, +1, because -3, +1 is my h and my k. -3, +1 shifts it left and up, just like it should. And it should go the same direction down, and this should go up like that. Okay. Then you got 2 more down here. I'm giving you the numbers. You can imagine the middle number is your vertex. Okay. You got a couple more on the back here, where again I'm giving you your x and y, but this is just asking specifically left or right, up or down. Maybe I can answer this one for you. This is opposite same. Okay, there's my vertex. So that's positive, so that shifts it right, because 4 is positive. Is it up or down? That's a negative number, so down, because -2 is negative. Does it open up or down? Well, that again is determined by right here. That is going to open up because a is greater than 0, or positive if you want. Okay, so kind of getting you started on that one. You will go again opposite. So we already found that point, so I'll just put that in there. That is my, of course, vertex, and that 4 gives me my axis of symmetry. Okay, and then down here at the bottom, this is just asking up or down, and what's the vertex? Think about that. That's not something that I'm going to freak out too much about, but you should be able to do 10 through 13 pretty easy as well. Remember, if it opens up like this, then it has a minimum. If it opens down like this, D-O-W-N, then it has a maximum, because that point is the highest point, whereas this point would be the lowest point. Okay. All right. So that is your assignment for this week and your notes for today. I will post those as well. And good luck on this week's assignment. Have a good week, folks.